Seeing How a Business Works, Part 2 by Mark Rubin. In this presentation, I'm going to explain a visual way to see where you are in a business and when things are happening in a business. And when we're done with that, we'll be able to see how a business works. I love to imagine how things work. And one of the things I love to imagine is time. When I was a kid, I would play with time. In my room, I had a ramp, and on the ramp, I had marbles, and I would roll the marbles down the ramp and knock over dominoes that were at the end of the ramp. And one of the things I loved to do was to measure how long it took the marble to roll down the ramp at various heights. I didn't do this with a stopwatch or a timer. I just took snapshots of it as the marble was rolling, and somehow I could keep track of time. What I learned from this is that time can be represented by a line. So here's an example. At 8 o'clock in the morning, you wake up and you get breakfast. At some time later, at noon, you have lunch. At some time later, 4 p.m., you have a snack. At 8 p.m. at night, you eat dinner. At some point, you go to bed, wake up the next day, do it all again. This is a way to visually see time, and this is called a timeline. So what? Well, in a business, processes happen over time. So here's an example of a few processes in a business. In a business, you generate traffic, and that's what you do when you market a company. And then you convert the traffic into calls, you convert the calls into leads, and you convert the leads into jobs. If you know when something happens in time, you also know where it happens. If you know when something happens, you also know where it happens in the business. Let's take this example. You come in the morning, you go into the office, and you are responsible for generating traffic to the website by buying pay-per-click from Google. So you do that. And then at some time later, the phone rings because you've converted the traffic into calls. And you answer the phone and you convert those calls into leads. And then sometimes later at 8 o'clock, it's a long day, you convert those leads into jobs. And then down the road, you convert the jobs into customers. And then the customer's giving you revenue. And the revenue comes into your system. And then you pay your expenses. And then you have some money left over. And that's called profit. If you know when things are happening in the business, you also know where they're happening in the processes. So how do we put all this together? I showed you a visual way to see how much money is in a business system. And in this presentation, I showed you a way with a simple timeline to see where and when things are happening. If you add those things together, you get a model of how it works. And this is a model of how a business works. This is one snapshot in time. And this is many snapshots over time. The dollar sign at the top of the screen is showing the flow of potential money through the business, through the sales funnel. And after it moves through the sales funnel, it hits the P&L, or income statement. And after the money moves through the income statement, the last sequence here is profit. And then the whole thing starts all over again. This is how a business works. And we're going to use this model to build out the rest of the system. So what we've learned so far is how the system works, where things are happening, and when things are happening. Up next, what's happening? I'm Mark Rubin. Thanks a lot for watching this.